Billy, I'd like to go through what it is that happened at the very beginning of that exchange with Stugotz. I'm just curious how often, because it's rare that Stugotz gets called on the obvious lie of, I know what you're talking about. And then he doubles down after that with like, no, I really think I know what you're talking about. And then you press him again and he's got nothing because he's come to the end of the lies. But how often does that happen with him when you're producing his show, where very few people do that to Stugotz, where he's just pretending to go along to get along, not listening, not understanding.
Oh, Billy does it well.
And then you call him on tell me what it is that you think I'm referencing, because clearly he'd have no idea that you were thinking about the text you got canceling a meeting.
Well, there's also a different dynamic sometimes when we're recording things where he'll be like, I know Billy's on the same page as I am, and I have no idea what the hell he's talking about.
He's just telling you to open
and
a
I'm
page.
Like, yeah,
and
I'm like,
start.
absolutely. Yeah, no, Stugotz is right. And then I'll follow him down whatever it is that he says, even if I don't believe it, because I know I've already agreed with him on the front end. And I think sometimes he knows that I'm like half listening because I'm doing something else, so he'll bring me in that way and knows if I agree on the front end, I have to follow him to the end of the earth with it.
It's one of the rules of talk radio. When you're talking to someone, you have to say, and Dan, you know this. It puts you in such a bad spot. I mean,
well, you always do that and then misrepresent what it is that I think.
True.
That one is almost, it's near 100%. When you're like, Dan, you know this. And then you say something.
I think you'll agree on this.
That just misrepresents whatever it is my point was on everything. Dan, you've said this before, and then he hides behind me to make the point that I'd never make. It's one of the beauties of the Stugotz experience. Many of you are
caught on to that, huh?
Are criticizing. It only took me 18 years. Many of you are criticizing us from every angle because you love to do that. OMFG, what is this? I get that they're based in Miami, but 50 plus minutes of Miami coin talk is excruciating, especially if you're not even from Miami. Sheesh.
He's that guy.
It was 10 minutes of Miami coin bickering. Just felt like 50.
Plus.
Mike Ryan needs to get over himself. It's a sports team, not who you should look for anything ethical, regardless of the BS they feed us. Once you stop expecting sports teams to have morality, you will sleep better at night, I promise you.
You're kind of right. I mean,
Chris Cote dodging his confrontation with Sampson is pathetic. Got them strong Twitter fingers, but nothing to back it up. Even when Dan pressed him on it, he had nothing. I'm just over him was the lamest excuse.
He's that guy.
I have strong Twitter fingers?
he's kind of right.
Is Mike Ryan mentally stable?
He's kind of right.
Why does he always sound like he's ready to cry? Is this a midlife crisis? Is he getting enough sex? Give him a Pornhub account. If not, give that man a hug. He sounds fried.
He's that guy.
Midlife crisis.
Need an account?
Thank you.
What was that Kyle Lowry statue?
What?
Kyle Lowry got a statue in Toronto.
Really?
Was that real? I just, for this like 7 days prior to April Fool's Day and 7 days after, I just tend to believe nothing is real. Yeah.
I am getting fooled more and more, but I went searching and they showed the back of it, the front of it. I saw it in different places. Maybe it was a series of accounts coordinating in a wolf-like pack fashion in order to just fool me, but it didn't look like Kyle Lowry. It's not a statue that I think Kyle Lowry would say, this looks like me, but if indeed I've been fooled again, please tell me, because it was one of these terrible statues that didn't look anything like Kyle Lowry. And people were objecting to the lack of thickness in the bottom. Kyle Lowry wins going back to Toronto. Kyle Lowry says, and it's rare these days for a star to say, even though the failure at the end made him and DeRozan leave because they weren't quite good enough to ever be the best, Kyle Lowry said those fans did more for me than I did for them. Has an emotional relationship with the city, and Kyle Lowry is remembered more fondly in Toronto and is held in higher regard than he is anywhere in the country, because I'm sure a lot of people are saying, if your best player or one of your most popular players getting a statue is Kyle Lowry, your team wasn't very good. Tim Duncan doesn't even have a statue in San Antonio.
The big fundamental.
It's the weird hand placement for me. He looks like a boxer, right? He's got like his hands in front of his face. Like
it's
I get
also the baggy shorts. The baggy shorts,
baggy
right?
shorts
We know his shorts are not baggy. Okay, they're not. I mean, they're tight.
I'm no statue aficionado. This appears to be made out of some sort of foam or something light, and I think they were just moving it around town and taking pictures with it.
Like a pop-up?
Yeah, it was described as a pop-up. It was described as a pop-up, so I don't know if this is like permanently ensconced
if I'm
in
Kyle
outside that
Lowry,
arena.
I'm like, I get a pop-up statue. It's like either give me a statue or don't give
No,
me
he's deserving of a pop-up. He is. A pop-up, and that's it. Not a permanent thing. Kawhi Leonard should get one of those for the Raptors.
I mean, if it's really the fans did more for Kyle than Kyle did for the fans should get a statue, not Kyle.
Yeah.
I'm with Stu Gotz on this. That is the appropriate amount of statue that Kyle Lowry should get in Toronto. Not one that is permanent, not one that is hard to topple, one that's easy to topple, and you can just move it around and take it to bars and enjoy a happy hour LeBatard next to a styrofoam Kyle Lowry statue.
One that for like 6 days, a lot of people said, man, it'd be really cool to have that, and then someone gets that, and then 2 months from now, they're like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this thing?
It was Labatt's or Molson, right?
Yeah,
it's the
those
only
are my
place
two
to go.
choices. Labatt's is a funnier word.
That's great.
Kyle Lowry's face doesn't look like that, though. It's not just that it's a pop-up statue. It's a pop-up statue of one of those, like, Party City Statue of Liberties that would be your size and would be, like, 12 styrofoam pounds. Like, it is made to look like those weightlifters who are throwing up, they have those fake Cadillacs, the fake 45s, where it's just, like, 5 pounds, and so they're throwing up 9 on each side, but the actual bench press is a total of 90 pounds because that's the kind of statue Kyle Lowry. Am I blaspheming to say that's the kind of statue Udonis Haslem should get in Miami?
No.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah. I didn't say that. I mean,
Kyle Lowry's a better player than Udonis Haslem.
Haslem means more to his team than Lowry means to that team.
Does he?
I don't know.
He doesn't. We've been incredibly harsh on Kyle Lowry in this conversation.
One of the best Raptors, if not the best Raptor ever.
People don't remember how anonymous and not important the Toronto Raptors were in the history of the NBA since they've been a franchise. They have contributed almost nothing until Kyle Lowry arrived, and even like routine second-round exits were a significant step up on where they were as a franchise. Chris Bosh was there for 7 years and couldn't achieve that.
I'm not certain he's a top 5 Raptor of all time.
What?
No, I'm serious. I mean, when you consider Vince Carter, you consider Tracy McGrady, Kawhi Leonard,
but as Raptors,
Morris Peterson.
Does Vince Carter have a statue in Toronto?
No.
Because I think that one should, like him doing a dunk, should go as a statue.
The
before
dunk
Kyle
contest
Lowry.
did more for Vince Carter with the Raptors than anything, almost even winning a
It
championship.
just did something for Vince, though. Did it do anything for the Raptors?
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, like, people bought Vince Carter jerseys because Vince Carter was really cool, and it happened to be Raptors jerseys. But no, I mean, if you look at the winning that Vince Carter did there, he left and wanted to leave. Like, Vince Carter didn't lift that franchise.
what did Tony just say?
You heard me, Dan.
I want you to say it again because it baffled me. Did you say that Vince Carter winning the dunk contest did more for the Raptors than winning a championship?
Almost, I said, did almost more than winning a championship. Because that was you can play his highlight film from that dunk contest through the end of time, and it's still one of the best dunk contests ever.
Well,
So he did more for USA Basketball than the Dream Team by dunking over
Dunking over the
Frederick
French
Weiss.
guy, yeah.
when you do word association with Vince Carter, it can't be championship. It's only going to be dunks, and in that league, style does matter. Like when you talk about Ja Morant, the way that he plays, the style of play. It's not just that he's excellent. There are more guys who are excellent in that league. The surgical precision being played in basketball by Luka, by Jokic, just making ridiculous passes I've never seen a 7-footer make. Just like not even looking and throwing it past his ear, past 2 Thunder players for a layup. Playing a style of basketball that is a combination of Shaq and Sabonis. And he's one guy when there are 15 out there, but Ja Morant and his style are something that are captivating, and Memphis gets to be a little bit cooler. Even though John Moran is a superstar, listening to him, none of you know anything about him. Like, you don't think he's interesting as a personality. You don't think, I really want to get to know who this person is. Magic Johnson gave us a smile, and that was enough. John Morant, you don't really know him at all. Superstar, style icon now. If he wants to be an influencer, what Westbrook was, the guy with the most fast twitch muscle fiber in that sport gets to be stylish, gets to be Iverson, gets to be cover of magazine stardom. We build our face of our future around you, whether you're interesting or not. He's making Memphis, Stugotz, one of the young teams. I'm now seeing their owner profiled, one of the richest men in the world, young guy. He's making them matter because he has got style, and everybody in that league that is at the top of that league has one of those guys, and the Heat don't. The Heat, Jimmy Butler is as close as they come. He gets some.
Well, he's the guy. I mean, it is Jimmy Butler, right?
I mean, Jimmy Butler got the Heat to the finals. Like, I don't think we should forget that. I just think at the moment he is not being rated as such because last year they exited the playoffs spectacularly. And this year, he's been so on and off injured that you don't know if he's going to be able to do it for 4 rounds. But I do think that Jimmy Butler deserves a little bit more credit in the bank than John Morant, who's not gotten the Memphis Grizzlies beyond the play-in game.
I would say in general, even us, considered a homer show, Stugotz, even us, that we speak about the Miami Heat in a way that disrespects how excellent they have been over the last 4 years, even with a first-round playoff exit. That they're the 1 seed, and it's a credit to where they put the standard on this. They're a 1 seed, and they lose 4 in a row, and at the end, and we're like, what's wrong? When they never should have been a 1 seed. Like, they had Hassan Whiteside, Deion Waiters, and,
They have no business being where they are right now. They really don't. I mean, they have no business being there.
They're at the top. I didn't think they were going to be able to get out from under those contracts. And they get Jimmy Butler, and they develop Tyler Hero and Bam, and then they trade for what they believe is the closest thing to a final piece while they'd rather have Bradley Beal. All right, let's see if we can do this with Kyle Lowry and culture it up. And then at the end, you're going to face Giannis. And then at the end, you're going to face Durant. You're going to face a bunch of players that are better than Jimmy Butler.
Face Embiid and Harden in the playoffs. Like, there's a lot of teams in the Tatum, Stugotz's boy Tatum. Like, you might face him in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Toronto's probably the one team that you look at and go, and Chicago as well. The 2 teams that Miami just beat. That you look at, if they played them in a playoff series, you'd be like, all right, Miami's fine there. But on the seeding at the moment, it doesn't seem like they're going to get there. That's something that's really interesting to me about this play-in situation is that the winner of Cleveland and I believe it's Chicago. Are going to be the teams that the 2 seed will face. That might be preferable at this point than facing Brooklyn in round 1. But like you said, you kind of want the smoke. You kind of want as difficult of a challenge as you're going to face as early as possible so that you know if this Heat team is for real because you're going to find out at some point.
It's so much more interesting to have to go Brooklyn, Boston, and then at the end, Milwaukee.
Right. But Charlotte, you kind of ease into it, don't you? You feel good about yourselves. You collect some momentum headed into the tough series, I'm
not saying that's not what you'd want as a team. I'm saying as a fan base, I prefer dramatic storylines and make me scared. The games matter more when you're scared.
But you'll be scared plenty in the later
Charlotte.
rounds.
Well, but
in the later rounds is what I'm saying.
Okay, but why limit the fun? Why make it less fun?
Why make it more difficult for your favorite team to win a title?
No, the reason why you're also banking on the more time that goes, the more time that a serious injury, this is grim to say, can befall another team, and you have an even easier. Like, if you played Brooklyn around later, then Brooklyn might be hurt by then because they have a tendency to get hurt.
And
That's
Boston,
an easier path to the championship.
Williams might be back in time for the final, the conference final for Boston. And Boston's looked better than you the entire second half of the season. And if I were watching healthy Boston against healthy Miami, I'd pick Boston based on what it is that I saw them dragging everybody through the second half of the season and playing the best defense in the league. But the Nets don't do that. The Nets don't play any defense. Like, they are a bad defensive basketball team.
They're giving up 112 a game. I mean,
and I want them, just because I want to fear Durant at the end of games. I want to see these matchups where you see, okay, here it is, top of the key. It's Jimmy Butler's got the ball, and Giannis has come out to defend him.
But you also have a different set of priorities than the fans of the Heat, who just want to see their team win the championship.
Dan's priority is fun.
Right, exactly.
Tension, right,
I
tension.
thought that was the point in sports.
It is in the later rounds, Dan.
I thought you guys are so
You
funny
want Duke,
about
North
this.
Carolina in the first round. I prefer it in the Final Four.
I want it every round. I want every round to be filled with stakes and fear.
It was great with but with as much as the LeBron era in Miami gave us those things, every once in a while, after all the tension of the regular season, I kind of like those Philly 5-game series.
No,
It was
nice.
Little
vacation.
Little gentleman sweep.
from
And we're on.
fear. Yes,
Appetizer.
yes.
Iguodala and Drew Holiday at the beginning, you're like, okay, let's just get them out of the way. But you know what's the difference there? And this is why you like the little vacation. Because every goddamn game those seasons was something that made you poop
Christ.
yourself.
A Sunday afternoon against Chicago was like the most important thing that has ever happened.
And they lost.
Right, LeBron took the shot late and was like really important. Every time LeBron had the ball with 20 seconds to go, it didn't matter who the opponent was, like, this is the most important thing that has ever happened.
I have been asking the question and still have not gotten an answer confirmed from sources for damn near 10 years. Who the hell was the Heat player crying in the locker room after they lost to Derrick Rose at home in that game you're talking about? I've never gotten an answer. No one's ever said it's LeBron. They've kept it in the locker room. I keep asking the question, who was so broken by a ridiculous regular season game against the Chicago team of Derrick Rose? Like, that's where the pressure got ratcheted with those teams, that somebody, and I think it's LeBron, was weeping in the locker room after losing a regular season game to Derrick Rose because of whatever happened at the end of that one. Yes, give me those games. Give me that all the time.
We've gotten so high on the stakes being so great that now it's like I'm chasing the dragon, because I'm looking at regular season games. I'm like,
you are chasing
been there,
the
done
dragon.
that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
I need KD, I need Giannis, I need Jason Tatum back to back to back.
Whittingham needed a break, and Iguodala and Drew Holiday would do. Just give me 5 games. Okay, Philly, you can have the one when I'm up 3-0, and I'll head back home.
Maybe.
And no, we'll give you that. We'll give you that one. Will be close at the end, and we get scared all over again. What have we done? Because every Heat fan that season, every game was fighting the universe, fighting the internet, fighting everybody.
It ruined basketball for me. I'm not kidding. I can't watch the games with the same level of scrutiny and intensity. It has ruined basketball for me.
I almost want to say sports. Wow. Ever since the Big Three, I have yet to find that again. This Panthers team, honestly, this year, watching, just in terms of, because they're top in the league, I'm excited for these playoffs. This year,
this is nothing like the Big Three.
No, I'm not saying. Let me finish. I'm saying, as a fan of all the South Florida teams, I haven't been this excited about playoffs. Even the Marlins made it a couple years ago. That wasn't that I didn't think they actually had a chance. The Panthers actually have a chance this year. I mean, what are you poo-pooing here?
They do have a chance. There are expectations. I think what he's pooing is comparing it to the Heat.
So I want them to tell me when since the Big Three, what South Florida sports thing got me as excited as this potential playoff run? No, tell me. You guys are
you have a highlight.
That's
team.
actually
shouldn't you care?
Nail
about that?
right on the head, actually. But that's currently happening. But you're thinking in the last, how long has it been since the Big Three now? Shit,
2014.
So 8 years, Billy. Tell me, tell me what
you were in the finals 2 years ago. You're excited about.
All right.
The Panthers were in the playoffs 2 years ago.
Nah, but
you thought they were going to go deep there.
This is the first year the Panthers have actually felt like a contender.
University of Miami just went deep, and Miami had a 10-0 football season in there where people got a little.
I'm not a big.
All of it. We've got precious little to choose from. And
you're right, though. No, the Heat in the finals. That's it. That's it. But
the Panthers.
But that was a shock, though.
Right, exactly. It's a completely different narrative arc. The narrative arc of that team was
they weren't supposed to be there.
Kind of okay in the regular season. Crushed the bubble,
5 seed,
and then beat the shit out of teams that they weren't supposed to.
I'm back.
Hammered Milwaukee in a way that was stunning. Hammered Boston in a way that was
shocking,
stunning.
Right.
It's not the same narrative arc to get to the finals where the Heat, what made it so special during the 4 years was like, you are the juggernaut. Yeah. You are the thing that everyone wants to beat, and that might be the comp to the Panthers.
And everyone hates you from the very beginning. The rest of the country.
That was on them.
That's never being recreated.
I still think the country doesn't care about the Panthers.
No. Well, I mean, hockey
Two
teams,
countries
hockey
don't care
teams
about the Panthers.
Well,
all the countries.
There's not a single country.
It is just that swampland in the west of the Everglades there.
Let him get like
Called
two.
Sunrise,
Let him get like 2 rounds in, Chris, before you get like super excited.
I'm really just talking about like my anticipation. Like the Heat making the finals a couple years ago, to Whitty's point, I wasn't anticipating that.
I think what you fear is they get bounced out in the first round.
Of course I
Panthers.
fear that. That's why
Right.
the Panthers have to win a
Yes.
first round playoff series
Yep.
before I feel like they're going to do anything.
Look, what Cody is saying here, though, yes, of course it's not the big three, but the Panthers were down 6-2 in the
Epic.
third period.
That was another thing I heard about at this party I was at Saturday. All the dads were high-fiving when this Panthers comeback
Everything
happened.
happens at a kid's party.
Dude, it was-
Yep.
All the dads-
They were watching it on their phone. What are you
What
talking
parties
about?
do you go to?
A kid's birthday party. If you guys
Right.
ever been to a kid's birthday party,
Yeah.
all the dads
you're stunned that there are
sit
sports
around.
They're in a
fans
corner.
watching
Yeah.
sports.
We hang out with very different crowds.
Your
We
parties,
do.
the guys don't
I've
gather
never
and
had a
talk
party
about
where
sports.
someone's
game,
interrupted me
never.
for a Panthers update.
Well, you
Not
guys
a party.
You guys aren't hockey fans.
Never.
I did. I'm telling you, it was like
I'm with
all
you.
the dads were sitting
Right.
around on the little phone.
Yeah.
I did it a few weeks ago watching a World Cup qualifying game. All the dads at a birthday party. It's really sad when there's like 7 dads watching on a little phone.
And
It's
yet
really
somehow
sad.
sadder is if one of the dads somehow has an iPad. It's like, why do you have an iPad here? It's a better viewing experience than huddling around a phone, but it's just weird for someone to pull out an iPad.
Dan, what it is that he's from Broward.
Yeah.
I was just going to say
that's
two
what it is,
Miamis
yeah.
or 2 South Floridas
Yeah.
is what's happening because there are absolutely.
That's how we roll in the
Well,
954.
It started with we were watching World Cup qualifying on an iPad and interrupted it with Panthers updates.
Cell phone, even sadder
It's
than
more
an
like-
iPad.
Hang
For
on a
me-
second. People in Dade don't want soccer? Get out of here.
No. Yeah, but the
Not-
Panthers.
No, it was
the
the
Panthers.
Panthers. No, the Panthers thing. This is, I don't know whether they're, what Chris Cote was describing, a kid's party in Fort Lauderdale or Plantation or Sawgrass or Sunrise is
My gym.
absolutely different than the ones that Billy and Lewis and Tony are going
I
to
will
on the
sooner
weekend.
see an endangered Florida Panther at a party than I will a Florida Panther hockey update.
I'm just trying to find the sport that Billy doesn't
But
poo-poo.
that's
Like,
not
what is,
Miami's
like,
team.
what
It's
is-
baseball.
The
That's
He's really carved a lane here.
The Panthers are never going to grab
Strong words for me. I'm here.
Hispanic America. Billy, we will never lure him in, even with a team that came back from 6-2 in the third period, wins in overtime, 7-6, because they
I'm
can do
just
that.
saying, every year you guys talk up the Panthers and then they lose in like the first or second round, and then it's like, oh, well, that was a good season.
But I don't
It's like-
think I think you're wrong. No year in the past have we been like every Panthers fan for the last 10 years. If they make the playoffs, we're like, please just win a series.
Billy, you don't. This is the best.
this year we are the favorite, so
This
it's
is-
totally different.
I don't know if they're the favorite in the sport because whatever, playoff hockey and defense, but they're the most exciting team in the sport. They're the first team to clinch in the sport, Billy, and they're the best Panthers team ever, unquestionably. This is the most.
They have 102 points.
This is by leaps and bounds the best talent they have ever put together at one time. And if they're not favorites, they are absolutely a team that no one will be surprised if they win the Stanley Cup. No one in the sport, no one who follows the sport will be surprised if the Panthers are good enough this year to win the title. I've never been able to say that about a Panthers team before.
And I'm still terrified that they won't win the first round. With all that, because you're so right. It's a different vibe this year, but because of how terrible they've been in the playoffs, until they win that first round, I'm scared.
The franchise records that they're going to set this year, Huberdeau already set the franchise record for points, and they have 13 games left.
And the team has scored more goals already this season than ever. And they have games
they have
left.
30, and they score 5 for fun. I was mad yesterday that Alexander Barkov turned down an empty netter that he could have scored to score 6 away at Buffalo because apparently he doesn't like empty net goals. He has like a philosophical, it's too easy to score empty net goals. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like,
Get a
some
goalie
people,
in there.
Some people have the over. Some people have Panthers -1.5. What are you doing?
Some people have the over is not what you should be shouting at the hockey rink, especially as we are again, Billy. We had both Villanova and Duke winning on the money line in our DraftKings parlay.
Yeah.
We are an embarrassing disaster that is being laughed that nationally.
Let me clarify something. I don't want you guys to think that I don't want the Panthers to do
Yeah, no,
well,
we
and
want them to do well.
I want
Yeah.
them to do well.
Yes.
I want Inter Miami to do
Yes.
well. I want the Heat to do well
Yes.
because if not, I don't get 50% off Papa John's
Exactly.
the next day.
Yeah.
I want them to win every game so that I can order pizza at a discount.
Yep.
Can you guys explain to Chris Cote how different your parties are in Westchester than the ones he's going
Billy's
to?
parties can't be exciting.
They're
What are we
not. They're
talking
not.
about? Like,
But they're different.
But they're not. I want to know the differences because it's never 7 dads around a phone talking about what the result of the hockey team
Well, I'll
is.
tell you what. If you're not gathered around with the other men at the party watching sports on someone's
nothing
phone,
better.
you're not at a kid's birthday
Nothing
party.
better.
I'm telling you that right now. Okay?
high-fiving, and everyone's like, what are they doing?
It's
and
a
then
key
there's
element.
a little screen.
Yep.
It's a little tiny phone.
And they start asking you, Chris, like
Yep.
you're an expert, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. You're the expert now.
Oh,
in the
everyone
crib.
wants to talk
Yes.
to me. What are the Dolphins going to do? I don't know.
Chris, are there croqueticas at this party?
Yeah.
Little pastelitos.
Bocaditos.
Yeah. Bocaditos for sure.
Cuban bakery stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes. Depends. The spreads are always a little different.
Wagon wheel's never been played at any of these parties. I can tell you that.
Ooh, that is a good part.
Tony and Billy, if there were people gathered around a phone at these events, what are they watching?
It's funny because the party.
Bad Bunny.
It's
something
funny.
Bad
The party
Bunny
I was
related.
at was actually a Hispanic. It was like actually a Hispanic house and families party. It's
Bad
actually
Bunny.
there actually were pastelitos this week.
Lewis from the corner just shouts, "The only in Dade Instagram account,"
That's actually a
which
good
is
sh-
honestly
yeah,
a
it's
good
call,
shout.
yeah.
You guys were mentioning Bad Bunny, and I don't know if the reference is too dated for you guys, but is he not looking more and more like Sacha Baron Cohen's caricature of hip hop, Ali G? Is he not
He's on his way.
every day?
I think it's Ali G.
I don't know. Is it Ali G? Ali G?
Same thing.
That's an unnecessary distinction.
Well,
Well,
but
it's a
not,
fine,
not if he
though.
could correct me and then find me. It's just it's while
Did not have Stu Gotz being a pedant about the pronunciation
Ali
of Ali.
G. I mean, go ahead. Kevin Ali. I mean,
I don't know whether Billy and Tony would agree with this because I don't know if they know who Ali G is.
Yes, I know who Ali G is, and there's actually a song on his latest album that we went to the tour called Yo Vi Tosi, and it's I Dress Like This. And he's going to dress however he wants, and he's going to look like Ali G if he wants. And me too.
John Hollinger reported something here this weekend as Quin Snyder goes crazy, and Utah is what we know Utah is, which is you will not win. Just you will be very good, and Donovan Mitchell will leave, and you will not win at the end. We just know this about you, and so we don't need to watch your games. Gobert is a weird dinosaur who gets mismatched off the floor in the playoffs, but you'll win 50 games every season, and we'll continue to wonder whether Donovan Mitchell will be a New York Knick. But John Hollinger is saying that Quin Snyder, the coach of the Jazz, who must be going crazy at this point because he knows what I just said is true.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, he's got to be.
He won't admit it to anyone.
No,
Right,
he won't.
yes.
Not even his wife. He will
Nope.
not say it to anybody. But I've been coaching this damn thing, and this Gobert, it's an interesting thing. But the whole sport is changing around his giant body, and I used to love having that at the rim, and he'll still win Defensive Player of the Year during the regular season. But then there will be important playoff games, and he won't be allowed to play. And I hate when that happens. But John Hollinger's reporting that Quin Snyder is trying to get more and more out of his lineup, squeeze whatever's at the end of that in Utah and Quin Snyder in Utah, and that the gum has fallen out of his mouth and he has picked it up while yelling and he has put it back in his mouth. And I asked, it made me think of Chris Cote. Chris Cote, you're the resident disgusting food person here where you've got some opinions that you don't mind things falling on the floor.
5-second rule.
Quin Snyder picking up gum off of a basketball court, which I do think of for some reason is different than a regular floor. Like if you were,
Well, it is, of
if
course.
you were to give me
The hardwood.
any number of items, thank you, Stugotz, to choose from. If I was going to eat food off the floor after dropping it, a basketball court would be very high, but a piece of gum, I think you got to let a piece of gum go. You cannot pick that up off the floor.
Was it 5 seconds?
I don't know how long it
important
took.
here.
I think any amount of time on the floor is too much if you're Quin Snyder and they could just go get you a fresh piece of gum. Like they could just all you got to do is send one of
That's a
70
bad look,
people.
though.
But what kind of message does that send
Yeah.
to his team? I mean,
You just see him
seriously.
point
Right.
back and somebody scurries away to go get him gum.
For me, though, I honestly, merely for getting the gum off the floor, I think that's a great courtesy that Quin Snyder has done, because what if someone in a courtside seat steps in the gum and then the gum is on their shoe. So I think
gotta
merely
pick
for
it
the
up.
courtesy, yeah.
You got to pick it up. I'm not saying don't pick it up. You should always pick up gum if for no other reason that you don't want to harm birds if you're outdoors.
You should have given it to a fan. Maybe turn around. Who wants it? Like a T-shirt.
Right.
Who wants it? And then they're all like, hey,
You have to
Quin!
pick it
And then he
up.
throws his gum into the
A
crowd.
chewed gum cannon.
I mean, these fans will want anything. I guarantee you, if he took that gum, turn around, and was like doing the thing, like, hey, I'm going to throw this, everyone would start being like, right here, Quin!
What is the Pavlovian response of fans?
They love things thrown at them.
things thrown at them. It's astounding whenever like you go to a basketball game and the loudest noise you'll hear for 2.5 hours is not anything the participants on the floor do. It's someone with a T-shirt in their
Always
hands.
the worst shirt, too.
Right.
That
Oh my
shrinks
God.
as soon as you wash
worst
it.
Shirts.
Wait,
Like,
you guys
you-
are above free things at games?
No, it's just it's a $2.50 shirt. Right? Like it didn't cost them anything to make this. It is not of any quality. It'll be something you dry your car with in a month.
I'm with Billy. I love the act of getting the shirt, but I'm
Yeah.
never gonna I love it's a game. I want to win it, but when I get the shirt, I always look at it and I'm like, why did I care about this? This is
No, you
terrible.
hold it up and you shake it. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
It's a medium.
It's not about the shirt. It's about just getting the shirt. That's all it
Exactly.
is.
It's the
it's
thrill.
the
It's
chase.
about winning.
Yes.
At a
Yes.
competitive event, you have won something that's worth $2.15 and is a medium, but Billy can look down his glasses and nose at you and say dismissively, what, you're above free things? You ask what gives Billy joy? I say not the Panthers, not the Heat, not any sports run. What gives him joy is...
Richie Rich over here turning down free clothes. I'll take free clothes any day of the week.
We know.
When have you ever worn one of those shirts in public? Not at home.
wearing one
'cause
Under
they're-
his sweater right now.
But like all of those shirts are terrible.
There have been
They're
studies
very
done.
boxy. They're very
They're-
boxy.
Can
Like
you
they
imagine?
don't fit around. They don't hug your body.
Whittingham.
Like sandpaper.
You realize how sophisticated these sports teams are about learning whatever it is that needs to be learned scientifically to manipulate its customer. Do you realize, like, studies are done on, you could get your fans really excited and they'll leave the place feeling better than they did about their lives because they caught $2.15 worth of fabric that will be used
They're right. I
to
mean,
dry the car and maybe in their garage in a bin of rags in 9 years.
I feel like I got one over on him if I catch a
In
T-shirt.
9
You know.
years, what is the cheapest way? What is the cheapest way that we could make them feel like winners and manipulate the experience? Can we shoot from a cannon just a bunch of snacks in their mouth? No, there are liabilities.
Dude, they shoot hot dogs sometimes
What?
out of
No
cannons.
way.
No
Yeah,
way.
that's
There's
the
no
best.
way.
There's
no
hot
way.
dog
Where?
cannons.
Where do they do that?
I think Dodgers do it. There's
I've been
hot
to
dog
Dodger
cannons.
Stadium.
no,
They
those
don't
are
do that.
giant hot. Those
Real
are
hot
missiles.
dogs?
They
Those are
shoot
torpedoes.
No, they
Not
shoot
real hot dogs,
at
the
people.
Dodger dogs.
I'm
I'm
telling
getting
you.
lodged in my forehead.
Look it
Can't
up. They
hit
shoot
Larry
hot dogs.
David in the head with a Dodger dog.
I think
shot
Billy's
from-
right.
Yeah, and at
Yeah.
the Heat game, sometimes they run around and they hand you a Papa John's pizza.
I like that.
Uptown Dale runs around. He's like, "Hey, what's a pizza?" Not like that, but he's asked who wants a pizza, and then he goes and he hands out pizzas to people.
Wow, I have a story from CBS Sports in 2018.
Here we go.
Philly
Tragedy.
Fanatics hot dog cannon sends Phillies fan to emergency room.
They deserve it. I'm sorry, that person deserves to be in the emergency room.
That's a story, though.
What
It's
do
a
you
great
mean?
story to have.
How
I mean,
on earth do you get injured by a
Yes,
hot dog?
exactly.
The bread is soft. The hot dog is like, I don't even know what it's made out of, rubber of some kind. What could it do to
It's
someone?
shot from a
There's just a
cannon.
picture. This lady's eye looks like she got punched in the face.
oh my
Yeah,
God.
this is from Sarah Bloomquist coming up at 4:30 and 6 on Action News. Hear from this Phillies fan injured by a hot dog fired from the Fanatics hot dog cannon. The Phillies say the mascot feels terrible about it.
So this woman getting hit with a flying hot dog, is this like a misfire by the person, the mascot? Are they shooting at someone in the second row? Is this a straight fire? Did they catapult this up in the air and this
But
could have happened to anyone?
this is what Billy is asking when he is saying, and I think it's a good poll question at LeBatard Show. If you end up hospitalized by a rocket hot dog, do you deserve your emergency room visit? He's saying either pay attention or there's clumsiness involved or, hey, there's a mascot on the field with a rocket shooting hot dogs at people and hot dogs are soft. This should not impale you.
In the break, Woody went and was reading some quotes from the elderly woman who was hit in the face by the hot dog, who sounded like she didn't want to take legal action while saying everything you would say if you wanted to take legal action.
Yeah, she was just waiting on a lawyer, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the quotes that you guys were reading there. So, but you're not walking off your position of if you get hit by a flying hot dog because it's in tinfoil. The Dodger dog is a giant hot dog. Like that would boomerang up there, and if at a high rate of speed, would knock out an 80-year-old.
A high rate of how fast could a hot dog be moving?
And enough to bruise her eye.
No way. No
We can't have
way.
our hospitals being judgmental with these things.
Half
though.
the time-
A hospital's job is just make me better. It doesn't matter what happened to my eye. It doesn't matter what hit me in the eye. Could have been a hot dog. Could have been a rock. You fix my eye.
Yeah.
I deserve this.
You think somebody laughed at her when she said it was a hot dog?
Well, I'm
that
just
hit her in
saying
the
we're
face?
talking about does she
Yes,
deserve
I
this
do.
room because it was such a ridiculous thing? Like,
Yeah, no, the hospital's not to blame for any of this. They were doing their job. Just, put your hands up. Block your face.
You're saying an old woman who goes to the game is 85 years old and back in her day, they didn't have hot dog rocket launchers. And she's caught off guard. She's got good seats. And now Nana's been hit in the eye by some foil at about 40 miles an hour. And it's just bread.
You have it going 40, huh?
No chance it's going that fast. No chance. And then she even said, I'd expect if a baseball would hit me. It's like you would expect a baseball to hit you, and you'd somehow stop that, but not a hot dog.
I don't understand how every game somebody isn't leaving concussed by a screaming foul ball in that
because
sport.
there's nets everywhere now. They basically play inside a bounce house.
Was the hot dog before the Nets?
It had to have
Yes, it
been.
was. It was before the Nets.
Unless the hot dog, screeching hot dog rocket fire is on the concession side of the field. Like if it's a mascot on the other side.
holy shit! I'm watching a video now. This exits fast.
No, but look,
he's
it's-
shooting it from like center
It's on a
field.
turret.
It goes so fast that he's shooting it from like
machine gun
center
turret.
field. He just shot another mascot
And
with
that
it.
mascot's fine.
Yeah, because that has padding and a big
What are you
mass.
talking about? That's just a pig. There's no padding
Dude,
there.
this thing goes way faster than I was
Dan, it's
expecting.
on a
from
John
center
Deere.
field.
It's
It's
a
from
turret.
center
This is
field.
the most shocking
Watch this
thing.
thing.
The most
No, this is crazy.
shocking thing that has been said.
That thing goes out of there like Jesus.
So the announcers were speculating they think it goes 98 miles per hour.
No, when it leaves
listen
the
to me.
gun.
It generates 350 pounds per square inch of pressure. A hot dog
It's
cannon.
mounted on a
Yes.
tractor. Like it's not like the T-shirt gun where like the
No.
guy carries it on his
Wait a
shoulder.
minute.
It's
No.
like mounted
You
on a
guys-
tractor. It looks
hold
like
on.
a turret.
You can tell this is
It's a turret.
pre-incident.
It's like a machine gun.
The video I'm watching is pre-incident because this guy's being really reckless with this thing. He's shooting everybody.
Fanatic.
I need to understand something because what I was picturing, and this is what Billy was doing as well, is our little toy gun that farts out that noise that basically that the hot dog is being shot at you like as a parabola and it's just a looping piece of bread. How much could that hurt
This is
somebody?
like a war vehicle.
No.
He's like driving around and he can like aim it anywhere.
There are a number of things here that I now find
Oh my God.
I now find shocking, and not the least of which is just the looks on all of your faces as you see the video that you've described. Billy, please back off for a second and allow me to unspool this because you now have a military vehicle that has gotten my attention because one of you shrieked, "It's in center field." And now you've got somebody rolling out like Rambo with a sleeve of hot dogs and somebody who could drop to their knee with like just spraying the infield and the groundskeepers with just, hold on a second, Stugotz, back off for a second. So he's just spraying hot dogs all over the place. And now you've got at the very end, Grandma's sitting behind home plate, not enough netting in the world because someone's unspooling a surface-to-air missile that's being shot from the shoulder in order to hit Grandma in the eye. That seems like a liability.
The good thing is it's not an automatic weapon. There's a woman that has to like put the hot dog into the thing
You have to
after
load it
every
up,
shot.
yeah. Yeah.
This is a war vehicle.
But a magazine of hot dogs is really funny. I mean,
That thing is going so slow by the
Slow?
time it gets to the
Talking
stands. By the
about.
time it gets to the stands 400 feet away, that thing is barely moving.
Billy, you'd have a concussion if that hit
I
you.
would not. In fact, I implore the Philly fanatic to drive down here with his hot dog cannon and shoot a hot dog to me here from across the street, and I'll catch it.
Okay, there it is.
Barehanded.
With that rocket launcher, with that military
Drive
vehicle.
it down here. I'll catch it.
I don't think you guys know how funny it was to exclaim, "It's in center field." Do you know how far away that is from wherever it is that old woman was sitting when she got hit in
Aiming
the
towards
eye?
the first base side.
Seriously.
have you guys seen the video with Jim Tomei? Oh, God. He is in control of the hot dog launcher for the Phillies for the day. Wow. Oh, my God.
But you guys have, I don't even know what it's called. Like, whenever it is, you've got one of those machine guns that would be like on a gunner boat that is just spitting casings in the air because it's just spinning, and you're shooting 100 bullets in 3 seconds. Like, this is the machine you guys are talking about here. Something that is just an artillery, a weapon of mass destruction.
I feel like whoever's wrapping those hot dogs has a big job on, because there's got to be some kind of
There has
adhesive.
to be tape, yeah.
There's got to
A
be a
waste of a hot
sticker
dog.
or something like that, because, and also, if they put any kind of ingredients on the hot dog, that's going flying all over the aluminum foil in the air.
Well, you got to think that some of those, given that the machine is a weapon of mass destruction, have come apart in the air. One would assume that at some point a flying wiener has fallen from the sky just right out of the foil.
What a great idea this was until it wasn't.
It's fine. They have to have retired the hot dog cannon since the woman
I don't
got
think
shot.
so.
I hope they did it.
I hope they
Has it
didn't
been
retire it, I
banned?
think.
Marlins, bring it back.
Do you
Jack.
guys have any news reports?
I think it's still out there. I mean, you work out the kinks. It's a good idea. You know, you slow it
can't- I
down a
think
bit.
I think
mean,
a good
Work
idea.
out the kinks.
It just needs a
Sent
disclaimer.
a woman to the
It
hospital.
just needs a
she's
disclaimer.
fine. She
It
didn't
says,
sue.
look out, there's going to be wieners flying everywhere.
I honestly think baseball is the worst sport to fire things into the stands for the projectiles of baseball. Like, the number of times I've gone to Marlins games and people spend 2/3 of the games on their phone because they're not paying attention to the action because it's too slow. Like, catching people out of, like, by surprise with projectiles. I can't imagine a worse place than
How
baseball.
about you don't go to a baseball game then? How about you pay attention?
I have to assume that the rocket launcher has been banned, and I think anything that is a quote-unquote good idea, according to Stugotz, ceases to be one once grandma's in the hospital, in the emergency room, no matter how much Billy thinks she deserved it.
It's her fault. I'm sorry. It's her fault.
She had a shoulder injury.
bring a glove.
Stay home.
Bring a glove.
The video of this had to be great, though. God. I would pay $200 right now to see that video.
Just her falling on the floor, just in some peanut shells because she's been hit in the side of the head by a flying foil.
Wow, there's a postscript to this story.
It's got to be the banning of the rocket launcher.
No, 2021. Philadelphia Phillies welcome back original fanatic after settlement reached with mascot's creator.
An attorney got to her. I told you.
Fire up the hot dog cannon. The Philly fanatic is back in Philadelphia. Not that the mascot large as in that green, furry, bulbous belly, ever really went anywhere. A legal dispute between the Philadelphia Phillies and the mascot's creator forced the team to give baseball's most beloved native of the Galapagos Islands an extreme makeover.